Narcissists who are sexual manipulators, let me ask you something powerful. Have you ever felt like someone owned your body, your mind, and your emotions? Without ever truly loving your soul, you felt chemistry. You felt desire, you felt needed, but soon you realized you were being used, used for your light, used for your energy, used for your body, and every time you tried to pull away, they lured you back with that one weapon they mastered better than anyone else: sexual manipulation. This is not love, this is not intimacy, this is control. Today, we're going to rip the mask off this deception and expose the dark game narcissistic sexual manipulators play. And more importantly, we're going to take your power back. They weaponize intimacy to bypass trust. They don't wait to build trust. They don't earn it. They skip the foundation and head straight for the shortcut: your body. From the beginning, it feels magnetic, intense, like fate itself set the stage for this passion. But what you're experiencing isn't love, it's manipulation with a sensual mask. You feel drawn to them, but what they want is access, not intimacy. The narcissist knows how to bypass your logic through physical touch. They're not seeking a connection, they're seeking control. You might think, how can someone be so affectionate and not care? Because for them, affection is just a tool, it's bait. And once you bite, they reel you into an emotional trap. Most people believe that intimacy is a reward for emotional safety, but to the narcissistic manipulator, intimacy is an entry point. The more vulnerable you become physically, the more blind you become emotionally. They know that when the body says yes, the heart often follows, even when it shouldn't. They don't have to prove they're safe. They don't have to be consistent. All they have to do is show you just enough attention, affection, and desire to make you believe they're genuine. But they're not investing in love. They're investing in leverage, and every time you give a piece of yourself physically, they gain power over you emotionally. You may notice that they want to escalate things quickly. First date, instant touching, short conversations, immediately sexual. That's not a compliment. It's a red flag. They're trying to establish ownership before you even realize you're being taken. Before you know it, you're in a relationship that was never built. It was hijacked. Once they have you hooked physically, they begin rewriting your internal boundaries. Things that once made you uncomfortable now feel normal. You start justifying their behavior. You excuse their distance, their coldness, their inconsistency, because your body already made a commitment your heart didn't agree to. This is where the deepest damage begins, when your body is involved, but your spirit feels empty. You start confusing lust with love, attention with affection, touch with trust, but one of the most powerful things you can ever do is slow down and ask yourself, what are they really offering me beyond the physical? When you pause and get honest, you'll realize that someone who truly values you won't rush to seduce you. They'll earn the right to hold you. They won't use your body to silence your instincts. They'll wait until your soul says yes, not just your skin. The narcissist manipulates you through false urgency. They make it feel like if you don't say yes now, you'll lose them. That fear of missing out becomes a pressure cooker. But anyone who threatens to leave because you're not ready was never really there for the right reasons. True connection is slow, it breathes, it listens, it respects your rhythm, but manipulation rushes, it forces, it plays a game of now or never. The narcissist doesn't want you to think. They want you to surrender, not out of love, but out of pressure. If you've ever walked away from someone like this, you'll know how hard it is. You question yourself. You replay every kiss, every touch, every promise. But over time, you realize that what they offered wasn't intimacy. It was imitation. They played the role of a lover, but they never actually loved. Your job now isn't to carry guilt for what you allowed. It's to awaken to what you deserve. You deserve love that sees you, not just seduces you. You deserve a connection that's grounded in trust, not just chemistry. You deserve someone who values your boundaries, not someone who pushes past them with a smile. Healing starts when you admit that your worth is not measured by how much someone desires you. It's measured by how well someone protects you, even from themselves. The greatest intimacy is built on respect, not rush, on safety, not seduction, on truth, not tactics. You don't need to fear losing someone who only wanted your body. You should fear losing yourself by giving it to someone who never planned to cherish your soul. They create addiction through pleasure and withdrawal. One of the most dangerous cycles narcissistic sexual manipulators create is this: intense pleasure followed by calculated withdrawal. It's not a coincidence, it's a system, a cycle that mimics addiction. At first it feels like passion, it feels like fire, but over time you start to feel empty and desperate, wondering why the person who once couldn't keep their hands off you is now emotionally gone. They use pleasure to bond you. They know that when they make you feel euphoric, desired, and wanted, you'll start tying your sense of worth to their attention. The moment you link your value to their desire, they've won. They've turned affection into control. They've made their presence your oxygen, and then they vanish, not physically, maybe, but emotionally, spiritually. Their eyes aren't the same. Their compliments disappear. Their texts become cold. You're left in confusion. What did you do wrong? Why did it change? That's when the craving kicks in, not for them, but for the version of them they used to bait you. The high of the beginning becomes the trap you chase. You think, maybe if I just fix myself, they'll come back. But here's the truth. They planned this withdrawal. They knew that the more they gave early on, the more you'd become desperate to bring it back. They didn't bond with you. They conditioned you. This is where it gets dark. You begin sacrificing your needs, your voice, your boundaries just to get their attention again. You abandon your standards. You silence your pain. You lose yourself trying to win back someone who never truly offered you love. Just a performance. You blame yourself. That's part of their design. They make you feel like the sudden emotional starvation is your fault. But it's not. It's their way of keeping you unstable, hungry, and attached. It's a power play, a manipulative rhythm that keeps you chasing while they stay in control. Over time, this dynamic wires your brain. Just like addiction, you begin associating pain with love, neglect with desire. It's not romantic, it's trauma bonding, and it's real. Your biology gets hijacked, your nervous system becomes addicted to their presence, even when it hurts. You may try to confront them, ask for consistency, beg for clarity, but they dodge accountability with charm or cruelty. They flip the script. Suddenly you are the problem. You are too needy. You are overreacting. It's gaslighting wrapped in sensuality, and then, just when you've had enough, they give you another dose, a weekend of affection, a night of intense passion, and it resets the whole cycle. You think they've changed, but they haven't. They're rehooking you, keeping you dependent, keeping you on the leash. You start living for crumbs, waiting for the next good moment, and in doing so, you forget what real, healthy love feels like. You become conditioned to believe that suffering is part of romance, that pain is just part of passion. That's the greatest lie you must break. Breaking this cycle takes courage. You have to starve the addiction. You have to accept that the highs were never real love. They were manipulation. You have to feel the withdrawal, grieve the fantasy, and detox the illusion. You'll shake, you'll cry, you'll feel like you've lost everything. But then your clarity will return, your power will rise, and you'll look back and say, that was never love, that was bondage. The only way out is through the pain, through the questions, through the silence. But when you make it through, you won't just be free from them. You'll be reunited with yourself, and that's a kind of freedom no one can ever take again. They use sex to silence your intuition. There's something inside you, something divine. It's called intuition, that gut feeling that whispers, this doesn't feel right. And every time you're around a narcissistic sexual manipulator, that voice starts talking, not shouting, whispering, but instead of encouraging you to listen to it, they drown it with seduction. When your spirit says step back, they lean in. When your soul says ask questions, they touch you. When your heart says wait, they press forward. It's not accidental. They've mastered how to use physical intimacy as a smokescreen. Because when you feel pleasure, you tend to ignore the pain. When you feel chemistry, you ignore chaos. They want your body engaged so your mind disengages. They want your desire to override your discernment. And if they can keep you intoxicated with the illusion of connection, they can shut off your inner warning system. This is why the relationship feels so confusing. You feel something's off, but you can't put your finger on it. And every time you try to bring up your concerns, they distract you with closeness. They interrupt emotional clarity with physical pleasure. And over time, your intuition gets quieter. You stop trusting it. You second guess yourself. You start asking them what's real instead of asking yourself. That's not love. That's submission. Not the kind where you surrender in trust, but the kind where you lose your voice to survive. The narcissist doesn't want you questioning the truth. They want you feeling good enough to stay silent. Every touch becomes a tranquilizer. Every kiss becomes a command. Forget what you feel. Believe what I show you. But here's the truth. Intimacy without integrity is deception. And just because someone knows how to touch your body doesn't mean they deserve to touch your life. If your gut is screaming for space while your skin is craving closeness, listen to your gut. You were never designed to trade your intuition for approval. You were never meant to choose physical closeness over emotional clarity. When you feel the disconnect, when your spirit feels uneasy, you don't need more affection, you need more answers. The narcissist will accuse you of being dramatic, sensitive, insecure. Why? Because if they can frame your intuition as paranoia, they can keep control. They will say, just trust me. But trust is earned through consistency, not forced through chemistry. You have to get to a place where you trust your internal compass more than their external charm. Your body might be drawn in, but your soul must decide, and if your soul says this isn't safe, it's not your job to justify staying, it's your job to start listening again. They can mimic love, but they can't manufacture truth. The moment you reclaim your intuition is the moment their power starts to crack, because now you're no longer responding to how they make you feel. You're responding to what's real. You don't need a dramatic reason to walk away. Sometimes your discomfort is enough. Your inner voice is not weak. It's not broken. It's not confused. It's your soul's radar, and it's begging you to rise, to return, to remember who you were before seduction made you silent. The most dangerous thing a narcissist can steal isn't your time or your body. It's your truth. So reclaim it, not tomorrow, now. And when you do, you won't just escape their manipulation. You'll rise into your highest self. They perform affection, but never practice love. A narcissist can be the most affectionate person you've ever met. They'll kiss you like you're the air they breathe, hold you like they never want to let go, whisper every word you've ever wanted to hear, but don't get it twisted. Affection is not love, and what they offer is performance, not practice. They know how to act the part. They've studied the script. They know that touch equals trust, and words can pass as proof. But love is more than presence. It's consistency. It's showing up when no one's looking. It's how someone treats you when seduction isn't involved. The narcissist doesn't love you. They love the way they look when they're with you. They love the power of knowing they can affect you. They love the control of seeing your emotional highs and lows. This isn't connection. It's conquest. You may find yourself thinking, but they're so attentive, so intense. Yes, and that's part of the illusion. It's not real if it disappears the moment you ask for emotional accountability. The same person who held you all night will ghost you the next day when you express a need. Because for them, affection is about access, not care. It's how they bypass your boundaries. It's how they reset your doubts. One kiss and suddenly you forget that they've been cruel. One hug and your questions dissolve. That's not love, that's manipulation in costume. They treat affection like a performance they can turn on and off. But real love is a practice. It shows up when it's hard. It apologizes without being cornered. It nurtures without expecting a reward. It holds you emotionally, not just physically. When you ask for depth, they dodge. When you bring up inconsistency, they gaslight. Because the moment you stop being an audience, they stop playing the role. The only way they stay loving is if you stay silent about your pain. Here's the trap. You start doubting yourself. Maybe I'm expecting too much. Maybe I'm too sensitive. No, you're expecting what real love actually looks like. And that's what terrifies them, being required to grow up emotionally. Real love is not seductive. It's sacred. It doesn't need to be loud or dramatic. It shows up in the quiet moments, in the follow-through, in the respect that isn't tied to performance. Love is safe. Love is healing. Love doesn't leave you wondering if you're enough. You have to reach the point where their hugs no longer hypnotize you, where their kisses don't rewrite your truth, where their hands no longer undo the boundaries your soul built to protect you. Affection without integrity is manipulation. Words without consistency are lies, and presence without heart is a performance. You were not created to be someone's emotional playground. You were born to be loved in truth. It's time to stop falling for the role they play and start requiring the person they refuse to become. They trigger shame after intimacy to control you. The narcissist plays a devastating game. They make you feel wanted, then make you feel dirty for wanting. It's not enough for them to win your body. They want to own your emotions, and one of the cruelest tools they use is shame. After an intense, passionate moment, something shifts. You feel them pull back. They seem distant, cold, maybe even judgmental. You're left wondering, did I do something wrong? That confusion becomes the seed of shame. They don't have to say much. A sigh, a look, an offhand comment like, I can't believe we did that. It's subtle, but surgical, because you walk away from the encounter not feeling cherished, but cheapened, not safe, but used. This is deliberate. Shame is their leash. The more ashamed you feel, the more you crave their validation. You begin seeking reassurance from the very person who damaged your confidence, and that's how they keep you in orbit. Guilty and needing them to remove the guilt. You'll notice the pattern. They initiate the encounter, but blame you afterward. They seduce you, then withdraw. They touch you, then accuse you of being too needy. The contradiction keeps you off balance, and that instability becomes control. Shame turns you into a prisoner, not just of them, but of your own thoughts. You start replaying everything, regretting your choices, silencing your needs. You become more compliant, more quiet, more desperate for approval. But let's be clear, you did nothing wrong. Wanting connection isn't weak. Desiring love isn't shameful. Being physical doesn't make you less worthy. What's wrong is someone using your vulnerability to disempower you. A healthy partner lifts your dignity after intimacy. They affirm your worth. They protect your spirit. But the narcissist weaponizes your openness. They make you question your own value after giving them your heart and body. The healing begins when you refuse to wear shame for someone else's manipulation. When you say, I'm not going to carry guilt for being human. When you recognize that true love never makes you feel contaminated. It makes you feel whole. You don't have to keep replaying the past. You don't need to punish yourself for what you didn't see. You don't have to earn back love through silence. All you need is truth, and the truth is, you are not broken, you were targeted, and now you get to choose not to shut down, not to numb out, but to rise with clarity, to reclaim your voice, to say, if love requires me to shrink, to suffer, or to be ashamed, it's not love, it's manipulation in disguise. They condition you to believe abuse is passion. There is a dangerous illusion that narcissistic sexual manipulators master, confusing abuse for passion. They don't just violate your boundaries, they make you believe that the chaos they create is proof of how much they feel. They don't want peace, they want power, and they use volatility to validate it. In the beginning, it feels intoxicating. The fights are intense, the makeup is even more intense. You mistake the emotional whiplash for chemistry. The tears feel romantic, the pain feels necessary. And before you even realize it, your nervous system has been trained to equate emotional highs and lows with love. They say things like, we fight because we care, or if it didn't mean something, we wouldn't feel so strongly. But these aren't signs of passion. These are symptoms of emotional instability. And behind those grand gestures, those jealous outbursts, those wild reconciliations, there is one ugly truth: control. True passion doesn't wound. It doesn't shatter your peace and call it romance. It doesn't tear you down and call it love. But the narcissist needs you addicted to the roller coaster. Because if you believe that pain equals depth, you'll keep returning for more chaos thinking it means they care. You start craving their approval like a drug, and when it's withheld, you panic. You do anything to get back in their good graces, because they've taught you that being wanted is a reward, and being discarded is your punishment. That isn't love, it's psychological warfare. They want you to feel empty without them. They want you to feel like the only place you're alive is in the middle of their storm. They create the problem, trigger the explosion, then play the hero who soothes you afterward. That's not passion. It's a trauma cycle. You begin to forget what calm feels like. Stillness makes you anxious. Peace feels boring, and healthy love, it feels foreign. That's because your brain has been rewired to see unpredictability as emotional intensity. But love doesn't hurt like that. Abuse does. They gaslight you when you try to name the truth. You're just sensitive. That's how real couples are. You should be grateful. I still want you after all we've been through. Every line is a trap, a message designed to convince you that the destruction is somehow devotion. But here's the truth. Love doesn't break you to prove itself. It doesn't isolate you from yourself or rob you of your worth. Love doesn't leave you breathless from panic, only to kiss you like nothing happened. That's not fire. That's manipulation in flames. You are not crazy for wanting stability. You are not needy for wanting emotional safety. You are not broken because you're tired of the roller coaster. You've just been conditioned to call dysfunction passion. And now it's time to break that conditioning. Healthy love won't leave you confused. It won't make you apologize for your feelings. It won't thrive on your emotional depletion. Real love builds you, it calms you, it grounds you. It brings clarity where confusion once ruled, and it never asks you to abandon yourself. You deserve to feel safe in love, safe in your skin, safe in your emotions, and you can't feel safe when your partner is both the storm and the shelter. That's not duality, that's damage. The day you stop confusing pain with passion is the day you take your power back. You stop chasing apologies and start choosing peace. You stop waiting to be loved and start becoming the love you never received. You are not addicted to them. You're addicted to the cycle. But cycles can be broken. Patterns can be rewritten. And love, real love, is waiting for the version of you who refuses to confuse chaos with connection ever again. You were never the weak one. You were the target because you were strong. Let's stop pretending this was about love. Let's stop rewriting the pain as passion, the control as chemistry, the trauma as romance, because now you know the truth. What they called connection was possession. What they called intimacy was invasion. And what they called you being crazy was you getting closer to clarity. You were never too sensitive. You were never too broken. You were never the problem. You were simply powerful. So powerful, they had to dismantle you to feel like they were something. You were light and they couldn't stand how brightly you burned. So they smothered you with manipulation disguised as affection. But you made it here, and that says something. That says you are waking up. You are reclaiming every part of yourself they tried to confuse, seduce, and silence. You are no longer available for the drama. You are no longer addicted to the pain. And you sure as hell aren't going to keep mistaking abuse for intimacy ever again. This speech wasn't about calling them out. It was about calling you back. Back to your truth. Back to your center. Back to the power you thought you lost. They didn't break you. They just buried you under lies. But your spirit, still intact, your worth, untouched, your ability to love again, still in you. There's a version of you rising from the ashes right now. The version that doesn't chase. The version that doesn't beg. The version that doesn't perform for scraps of affection or confuse manipulation with connection. The version of you that doesn't need anyone's permission to feel whole. And if you've felt ashamed for staying too long, let that go. You didn't stay because you were weak. You stayed because you were loyal. You stayed because you believed in their potential. You stayed because your love was real, even if theirs never was. But now it's your time. Your time to heal, your time to draw new lines, your time to say no more. No more letting someone use your body to control your mind. No more pretending chaos is love. No more second guessing your intuition when it screams, get out. This is the season where you don't just survive, you rebuild. You are not their puppet. You are not their supply. You are not their possession. You are a soul on fire, and no one gets to dim that flame ever again. So stand up, not just in your posture, but in your soul. Stand up for your boundaries. Stand up for your healing. Stand up for the sacred relationship you're about to build with yourself. Because once you reclaim your body, your mind, and your spirit, the game is over for every manipulator who ever thought they could own you. You're not broken. You're becoming. And from this moment forward, you rise.